Alright, in this video I want to talk about should we average up or down. So it depends on what your goal is. So this is what ended up happening with me today, and I want to show you why it's sort of important to just get in at pivots and just let it be. Let it be for however long. I mean, you are the best risk reward because I will show you an example. So right here, I actually got in right here with one contract. Actually, two or three contracts. And then because I had so many, I was just freaking out in my head mentally. And I ended up selling two of them here. And then when it came down to here, I was like, man, I was right. It was breaking down. So then what I ended up doing was averaging down or averaging up or right, I think it was like right here with another contract. And you see how far you are from here. So when we came back up, I ended up putting my stop above here. And so I ended up getting stopped because when you have one contract here and you add another right here, it averages it, and so it comes to about right here where it shows your entry is. Well, what ends up happening with that is now everything's skewed. So what it ended up doing is stopping me out, and then the rest of the day or the rest of the hour, because this was at 10 o'clock and this was at 10:30. So in 30 minutes, it made the initial play, and then after 10:30, it actually came all the way back down 10 minutes later. So if you just would have held from here to here with one contract, that would have been $2,000. So that's 100 points right there. But because I was trying to get greedy, in the back of my head, what was going on was, oh, I want to make $4,000. Instead of just leaving your one and just walking away. You have to have your predefined risk. Right here, if you wanted to have two contracts, you should have got two contracts here, then risk above. And then sell here, because this is about your halfway point with one contract, and let the rest ride. That ideally is what you would want to do. So what ended up happening is I get stopped out, and then I'm waiting for a possible pullback up to here, and it never came. And so they made lower highs, higher lows, and it just kept on trickling down. And then I thought, oh well, it's finding support here, so maybe it might end up squeezing back up here. So I'll wait. So it ends up cracking, flushes hard, and by that time the move's already gone. And then you're just chasing. But you see how if you just stuck with one contract, then you would have played the majority of the move all in about 30 minutes. So instead of making $2,000, I ended up making $200 scalping. Then when it came back down, the rule always states, remember, you want to be able to go long at pivots until proven otherwise. Even if something seems like it's dumping, you could have easily got in right here, one contract, and then this ended up, that was 780, and this ended up going to 830, so about 50 points. That right there was in a span of about 15 minutes. So you could have, my target was right here, and the reason why is if you notice on the bigger time frame, I drew this line because this was the high on a 30-minute candle the previous day. So if you zoom out a bigger picture, actually I'll come on the 30-minute candle, you can see that we never closed at, this was the 9:30 candle, we never closed above. So we were below, so now it's bearish until we get back above here. So this is forming a bear flag because we dropped, it's consolidating. If we end up breaking here and breaking this 700, then we're going to flush down here. And that might be later on in the day, or that could end up being tomorrow. But I guess the point of the story is all day or the all morning session, you can see that we ran up, we dropped. We ran up, we dropped. Oh, hold on a second. This is catching up. I guess I'm lagging because of the video. But like let's look at the Renko charts. You see how we all morning this was 8:30 right here. Yeah, so this we broke above, and ran 50 points. Dropped 50 points, consolidated below. Remember, anytime you consolidate below and then you come back above, and especially if you hold right here, this is now support, and it's strong support until proven otherwise. And why I say that is, look, you could it ran up here, double top, came all the way back down. Buy it again, ran up, drop back down. Buy it again, and this was the 920 candle, and then it ran up, and then that first hour was up, and we held up here. So you can assume now that we've closed up here, this is now support this area, and we should complete the process. So if you would have came down here right at 9:20, it's that last 15 minutes of that hour candle. It basically then ran up and did the entire move. Then you end up shorting, and anticipating it coming back down. If it would have broke above, then you would have switched. But ideally, remember the rule is you want to close above the mid-range pivot for more consideration of the upside, and that has to be done by 10:30. So this run up, since we took a long time all morning, I figured there was not enough momentum. So in reality, I think my bet was to the downside, and so this should have held, and that's why you should have been confident in, say, getting 2 or 3 contracts, and then you could have easily made your profit for the day instead of now having to wait. So it's just best to keep it small. Don't average. So the question in the videos is, do you average up or average down? You can, but it needs to be according to your plan. So you shouldn't be averaging down right here in the middle. You should do it as close as you can to this pivot. And just remember, you have to risk to above this. So if this right here was a validation that we possibly are going down because we broke this trend. Now, anything can happen. Sure enough, we came back up, but look, we never cracked back into here. So this going back into this consolidation would have told me this is probably strong and it could have blown through. That would be this lesson. And again, stick to your pivots, and all you need to do is if you spend 2 hours just waiting on and sitting on your hands until you get to these pivots, they'll pay for it, but you just have to believe in them.